Hello. The mic is on. Again, I forgot to clear my throat. Hi, I'm Shawna, and this is Painting with Shawna on Thursdays. And this is week 2 of a little week 3 stint of coming in and working with you, or working and you can watch. This is where I got last week with the fox, and then it's been beautiful. If there had been one cloudy day in there, I would have been in here painting. But there wasn't. And I have spent the last 9 summers looking out the window that's behind this camera you can't see, watching summer go by. So this summer, because I don't have a show in the fall, I am just enjoying sitting outside, reading books, hanging around with friends, doing summertime things. It's great having lots of friends who are retired. It's pretty fabulous. Sunday, the auction for this painting. Oops, get some light on it. Where's the light? Oh, yeah, there we go. The auction for this painting will be done at 4 p.m. on Sunday, which is the 26th. So if you're interested, head on over to eBay. You can find that link on Facebook. I don't have it on, it'll be underneath the video here this week, and I will put it on my website, which I haven't done. I will actually do that this evening. And if you're interested, I have a newsletter that goes out kind of weekly, kind and mostly not. It depends on what's happening. And that is at my website at dancingravenstudio.ca, and you can sign up for the newsletter. Well, let's get going. I actually figured out this week to put the picture back on, so you'll have a picture here that I won't see, but you'll see on yours, and then you can see what I'm doing on my fox. How's that for magic? Just really magic. So I'm still using the same paint from last week. I'm just going to spritz it up really well, because I don't think I even came down to do that this week. So let's see what state it's in. I didn't even check. So we can see where we got to. You can see on the image there what's happening. I was really pleased with where we got to. It's, you know, shapes will change as I get other information in there. I'm just got a bit of a, I'm trying to, okay, get this up and going here. Okay, now it's working. Okay, let's get going here. Okay, get my brain back in painting mode. On Friday, I have a new video coming out. Where am I? Here. And I am been working on that, so that will be out. Well, it needs to be lighter. And it comes out Friday at 4 p.m. On YouTube, Mountain Standard Time. Definitely need to soak it up a little bit more. The paint's still pretty good. Get the undercolor underneath here. So we'll continue to work here today, and I'm just working on the fox here, and then I'll move over to the rocks and to the branches, though I don't think I've really worked them out in my head. I haven't really thought about them. Okay, so I'm seeing there's a shape here where I thought it was straight across. When I look at it now, it's like, huh, well, there you go. Get some lower chroma Okay. And I'm really trying to get and stay with the how the shape of everything is going. I think there's more color in here. I'm going to put some more color in here. It's probably lighter than that, so let's clean my brush off. So I am attempting to see comments on Facebook. I didn't have any glitchiness last week, so I'm attempting to see comments. It says swipe left to reveal comments and reactions. Nothing yet. Say hello if you're watching. That would be very nice. I'm dark in here and bring the chroma down a little bit more. So how I bring the chroma down, I think I spoke about this, I speak about it over and over, is I use a neutral gray. A gray, black by itself is a low chroma blue. So when we're working, don't want to change a color and add blue into it. So I neutralize the gray, and then I work from there. I'm just going to step back. Now I'm right beside the camera, right here. So I can step back as far as I can. And I'm just sort of playing here. I'll come and put a second pass, and that will be far more accurate. Right now I'm just trying to get everything in place. I've been out riding my bike. I've been having a grand old time enjoying the weather. I see that needs to come up more and needs to be darker. Okay, that can come into here more. That's still good. I'll just add some more darkness in since I have it. Ooh, look, we have a foot in behind that I haven't paid any attention to at all. So let's get that one in place. And I'm not going to worry about, of course, this one is just getting the information in. It's actually not about worrying about perfection. It's covering this board. So the next video I have coming out is the second last video of Acrylic Painting 101 Basics for Beginners. And it is a color study and introducing you to the idea of a color study and how to use a color study and to do a color study before we start the final painting. And the final painting is a lemon, which I'm sure I have around here somewhere, but it'll come out on Friday. It comes out, the color study, and 2 weeks from this Friday for the actual lemon painting. And what I see is there's some lightness here that just sort of separates it. So let's just separate this leg from the background by adding some lightness to it there. And we can add more paint in. Okay. And I'm just going to come into here on the underbelly. You can see it over there. I just have to sort of figure out what value I'm looking at here. It's darker and it's certainly less chromatic. So let's just take some of that and some of this. And so I have mixtures here that I didn't end up doing a blog post about, but I will. And I'll put in the videos as we go along. These mixtures are all, I'm just changing them as I need to change them. By adding a neutral gray or a darker color or a lighter color as I see what I'm looking at here. Okay, well, there you go. Didn't take long to finish the fox tonight, which I knew it wouldn't take very long to do. Okay, I'm going to spritz my paint again. Someday I will be able to afford another camera, and I will have. Okay, so I'm just looking at the rocks. I'm going to just take a minute to look at the rocks and see where I'm at, because I'm going to start here. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the right value. It looks like it is, but until I get other things next to it, yeah, it's a matter of whatever is next to it. And there's all sorts of, on the rock you'll notice there's all sorts of little shifts of value that are really, part of when I go to do the second pass, I will really pay attention to those subtle shifts that gives it dimension. It was a very bright day, cloudy day, like it was, so the light was very diffused, and that means that there's no big movements here. There's no big, the shifts are going to be subtle, and they're going to, and it just takes, extra time and thought process to do that. I'm going to see that could actually be even a little lighter. I'm seeing that it looks too dark, but then that's too light. Clean my brush off, dry it off. I'm still working with my Princeton Dakota number 6 flat. I love this brush. It's so scrubby and hard, and yeah, it's one of my favorite brushes. Okay, and I'm going to come in and clean the edge off. I did the background when it was flat, and so I want to make sure that I'm not having to paint over if I can do that. So I did 5 or 6 or 7 layers of very thinned out acrylic paint, and used a sponge to the Bateman sponge method, the BSM, to create a smooth looking, oh goodness gracious, thinking and talking, looking and talking. It takes concentration when you're coming in here. I'll get the shape corrected here. This part here, I'm going to actually have to do on my own and not in front of people till I sort of sort out how I'm going to do it, because it's very diffused and very soft, and the edges are soft. And acrylic is not like oil paint where you can come in and just gently brush the edges with a fan brush and get this beautiful gorgeous softening that happens. It takes more concentration than that. Okay. So I'm going to come in and put in the dark. So the darkest I will go is to a value 3. I never go below a value, I rarely go below. I can't say never. I rarely go below a value 3. I find value 3 is dark enough But if I need to go into value 2, then I still have that space to go into the value 2. So even though it looks very dark, if I held it up to another, let's see if anybody's, hello. If you're on Facebook, say hello. If I held it up to a really dark value, oh, here's something that's really dark. Okay, so here's something that's really dark. It's my Vistex cloth. Yeah, do it this way. So you can see how light that value is compared to, I guess my shirt would have even worked, compared to what this black. So value 3 is not that dark, but it is dark enough and it gets me to where I want it to get to. Okay. Okay, so the plane, okay. If this is the lightest area, and I want to lighten that up a little bit more because I think it's too dark. And you really, this is a comparison against one value to another. So if you end up with one value too dark, then you end up with everything too dark. So lightening this up right now helps me to see that I've gone too dark there. Now I can see my values better. And I might even discover that this is already too dark because I started too dark. But that's what working this out is just allowing yourself to come in. And the nice part about acrylic is it dries, so you can paint directly over and lighten it up and see that's better. So that makes it, when I come to this one here, which is got all sorts of variations in the side plane of the rock. You can see it comes straight out and down. Then I have a better understanding of the value that I'm seeing. Okay, what I'm seeing here, let's clean that edge up before I get too far into it and it dries. Take the water off the brush so it doesn't drip in. Let's get that rounded more. Okay, wow, that's coming. Now I do this carefully and slowly. I'm not in a rush. I mean, I guess, you know, if I'm in a rush and I'm, you know, painting like a crazy person, but I still am slow. I belong to a Sunday morning group of, all of us are, well, some of us are speedy painters, but no, not all of us. Most of us are not speedy painters. But we're all high realism, and it's interesting, and it's a wonderful group to be part of. We meet again on Zoom this Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. It's been a few weeks because of the way Father's Day landed. And I hope everybody had a good Father's Day. Okay, here we are. We're coming around. And it's darkening up as it's coming down, which is interesting because you would think with the snow it would be reflecting back into the rock face, but it's turned, it's turning away from the clouds, and it's not getting hardly any bounce light because the snow is so, the light is so soft and it's so diffused. Oh, Okay. There we go. It's coming. Okay, so it's lighter in here. As it comes down, it seems to be getting darker. So let's go and get some value 4 and value 5 and just do a mixture that's sort of a 4.5 and see if that's going to be what I'm seeing. All of this will be corrected in the second pass. And all the shapes will be corrected too because, yeah. Okay. And then we have some little bits of lighter areas where it's obviously leaning up towards the light, so capturing a little bit of the light. Might be it's different minerals in the rock as well. I am not a geologist. That I'm not. But I do love painting rocks. A little bit darker. They're so interesting. There's so much texture and variation in them. So the clouds moved in just as I was coming down. Okay, so I want to back up because I want to see what's happening here. I just put some registration marks here so that I know that the angle is going up. So I didn't, I wanted to just stop and look and see what I'm seeing. And move it forward and straighten it out a bit. Coming back. Oops, spritz my paint, keep it fresh. Trying to keep my hands out of the way, so I'm okay. And then there's this sort of movement this way, so that just sort of tells me that it's coming up there. There we go. There we go. So what's the weather like where you are? Put that in a comment below or on YouTube if you're there and on Facebook. We had Indigenous Day was this on the 21st, and so was Litha, the celebration of the longest day of the year. It was a lovely day. What I'm noticing here is there's movement going this way. So the rocks are kind of got ways that they're moving just like the fur does. Okay, so I'm going to move to this plane here, and I'm going to see if I can get that shape without getting in front of the camera too much. A little bit lighter too. So I go to value 5 and then into a value 6 and have that transition of interest and straight here. Some more of that value 5 in there. A little bit darker. Yeah, there we go. coming. And there's a shape down here. It comes down and it comes all the way to the snow. So I haven't made a decision where that snow is going to be, so I'm just working on that. I'm going to get up here and let's finish this part of the rock. As I stand back, I normally have the image closer, and so I'm having to work a little bit differently because the painting is so large that I have to come at it differently. I have to remember rocks are not just totally straight, but have little curves and bends to them. Get that. I see that there's some build up there, and I like smooth. Let's see. Any place else? No. Okay. Yeah, that seems about right. So I'm going to continue on down and bring in some of that darkerness. I'm not sure that's a word. I'm making my own vocabulary up here as we go along. Pretty soon I'll have my own language, and then you'll all be in trouble. Okay, a little bit higher up here. I see that it shifts value just slightly up. So I'm going up to the value 5, and it comes around here. Clean my brush off. I'm getting too much paint on there. Okay, so let's figure out along the edge of the snow here. So I know that this is a point that I want to get to. And so I'm going to create sort of these pillowy, you can see the sort of pillowy look here. Ooh, I've got a little bit of reverberation happening. My walls must be too bare. So I'm just going to sort of give that pillowy look like the snow is puffed up in front of. And I'm going to come in and clean this off if it hasn't dried too far, because I want the snow to be as pristine as possible. Again, I brought in 3 buckets of water so that I can keep up with the amount of paint that I've got on my brush. I'm seeing, so I don't see what this shape is. I thought there was a shape there. Yeah, no. I'm seeing a little bit of rocks over here, but we'll get this one finished first. Stay focused. Okay, value 4, switch my paint. Continue to build up this value in here. Come in with the value 3 when I go in the second layer. It's will help with giving me just a little bit of ways to move with it. And I can see that there's a value sort of 4.5 over here as it moves this way. Oops, that's a little darker. Let's make that a little darker so that, which tells me then that this is too light. If I'm thinking that this is not light enough, maybe. But we'll make all those corrections on the second bout when I come back in to work further on this. working away. The more smooth here, and you can kind of see that it comes along here smoothly. So we want to match up to where we're at here. And I clean my brush off, and then I'm going to get right in your way because I have to clean along here. And I can't do it any other way. Okay, now I can get out of your way again. Okay, continue on. There's little shelves here of darkness where it all the little bends and turns and captures the light in different ways. Oops, even a value lighter than that. Okay. There we go. When I'm in here painting by myself, I can just move around in a normal way, but I want to stay out of your way so you can see what I'm doing. As it is, I'm in the frame way more than when I do little paintings, that's for sure. Okay, so we're coming here, and we're going to come down, and it comes down this way, and it's fairly straight here. I need more paint on my brush. And that's a value 4.25 maybe, closer to getting closer, just away from a value 4. Okay. Not very pillowy, but we'll work on that. There we go. Oh, I'm sure I'm going to spend days and days and days just on this area here. Okay, so the other rock, you're seeing more of the rock than I have even put on here. And, so I see, let's go here. I want to say, I'm going to go into, no, that's going to be too light. So I know that the background is a value 9.5 and going down to 8.25. So what I'm looking at are my values here for building up the next section. I'm thinking about the values that's already on the back of the background. A little darker yet. I'm going to have to cut it off where I can actually see where it cuts off so I don't. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we have interesting shapes happening that interesting. And some lighter shapes in there. Ooh, that's not where I want that. I'll take that right off. Get myself a fold that up so that it's hidden away. Have to watch where my brush touches. I'm going to try and get right to the edge so that it's covered over. Again, the soft snow is sort of undulating. So do that. Okay, so what am I looking at here? That, okay, let's back up for a second, stop. You know, it's so easy when you're painting just to get painting and not stop and look at what you're actually looking at and what you're working on. So let's just stop for a second and get some shapes in here correctly. Make sure that I have to stand in such a way that I can see both of them. It's too dark. Immediately you can see when it's too dark because the values shift between. There, that's better. And that's a fairly flat plane right here. And it gets darker as it goes towards the towards this rock here. So I can just make it a little darker. Clean my brush off, dry it off, come back and just soften that edge and soften them together. Now when I come to do the big version of it, when I go to do the second layer, I'll have the proper softening brushes with me that I'll be working with. Okay, so we have that rock, and now we have a darker plane on that side rock that I completely missed. Right here, and it comes around to here. And it's a rock that's in behind. It's a shape that's in behind. Yeah, there we go. And then we have, you can see that side plane right about there. And so I want to capture that here. It's not as dark as that background shape is, but it's definitely there, and I want to make sure that I am getting that information in. And bring it down. And it goes straight along and lines up with and meets the other rock that's beside. Okay, and we're going to just bring in some darkness there and just get that shape better. Oh, I like the shape of the snow. That's working for me. Okay, so there's a little rock that is in behind here. I've sort of drawn it as like it was in both places, and we're just going to do that anyway because it's very light. It's not as dark as the rock in behind is over here. So I'm just going to put it in very carefully. And then I'm going to have to dig down for a smaller brush because I'm going to come into here and do the branches in a oops, too light. Okay, and then there's a very pale rock just right of the back foot. So I'm just going to put it in as a value 8 because I want to keep it as light as possible so that it's even too dark. That could be too dark. Interesting. How did value 8 get too dark? But there it goes. So I don't want it to be the center of attention. I just want it to be where it's supposed to be, but fading away. And there's some more rock over here that we'll work on. Okay. Okay, so there's that light rock again in behind the branches. So I'm just going to put some this is a value 9, so it's very light, but it will give me the starting place for it. And then I see that there's subtle texture on it that I'll have to sit down and do to get the shape. And I'm coming down here to down here and building up. Slowly but surely bringing, okay. And I see as it steps away from this side, it starts to darken down. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that value 8 and add it into the value 9. Oh, siren going past, not unusual. Okay, and what am I looking at here? I have made, if you look at the image, you can see that these branches are actually much larger than they are in the actual image. If you see them right there in the corner there, they're quite small, but I wanted them to have more oomph to them. So I'm just looking and trying to figure out where I'm seeing this rock as it moves sort of away and over to the right. Where am I at? I'm at the right. It actually comes down here. I got some of that value 9. It comes down to here. And then it comes back up so that there's some snow. I got some of that value 8 in there. And the value 8 and value 9 together, so it's like an 8.5. What I didn't do is leave a chair in here for me to be able to sit down and do these branches, so I might have to lift it up a little bit because they're a little low on the ground down, and it's a little hard to work with. Okay. Make sure I have no strange shapes on here and smoothing it out. Now I haven't really worked out the branch colors, but I'm just going to use the colors I'm using for the fox to get them started, because honestly I'm going to come back and work on them. Okay, now what I see here is the branches here. I'm going to make it nice and dark so it stands out. Actually, I'm going to go dig for you're going to watch me move around in front of the camera. And let's get a smaller version of that brush. Where are you? So many brushes. Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on the fly because I've missed part of. So I'm just going to come down here. Now I've got a brush that's more manageable. It's the same brush. It's a number 2 instead of a number 6. So a number 6 is bigger and a number 2 is smaller. But it's still that Dakota, the Princeton Dakota brush. Okay, so this is where I start to draw because I see that I have missed a branch that comes straight off of there and is not that wide. And let's not make it so wide. So if it's too wide, I can come in and I can just straighten out the paint just by okay, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to be more careful. And I know it goes in behind, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And I'm just looking back and forth, and I'm just check to see how far I need to go over to make it look. And we always remember that we're, yeah, that's good. There's a little branch off here, and a little branch there. And we always remember that even though you're seeing my image, by the time I finish the painting and take the image away, you're not, you have no idea what was exactly 100% correct and what's not. Most of my paintings are not 100% correct. They're as correct as I can be, make them. Okay, so I like that. And let's do the one that's in front of it. And there's an interesting shape there. And then a little shape there. Hey, one of a few branches that need to get done. So I'm kind of doing them at a value 4. Okay. Well, it could be a little lighter actually. Let's go to a value. Let's have that low chroma orange in it. We would call that brown. And just come in and build this up. When we come for the second round, we can change values. We can shift them and get them to where we want them to be. This is just getting shapes put in place, and it helps you to see where you're going for the next thing. And thankfully it still seems to be in the frame of the yeah. Okay. So some of these are pretty light values because the branches are catching more light and are oh, look at that. Okay. Always something new when you come to look at these. You go, oh, I hadn't seen that one before. What I didn't see was this one extends beyond it and does a little sort of lift up at the end. I'm going to clean that up. Whew. Drop of water, don't want that on my, and clean it up. And so today I think was the last day of school for some of the kids, well, for all the kids here, and graduation happens this week for grade 12s out of Sir John. It's a very exciting time of the year. I always loved when school started, the school summer break started. It was nice to move into a different rhythm with our children when they were young. And slow down and just sort of have summer days. And to be truthful, I still miss beach days. And we've had many days in June that would be perfect for heading to the beach and just hanging around there for a few hours and taking your beach blanket and riding your bike there, and yeah. But alas, all my kids grew up and left home. Hallelujah for that. As they know that, they'd be like, oh yeah, Ma, you didn't want me to stay forever. No. And I didn't want you to stay forever as a 6-year-old either. So do you guys enjoy beach days? Do you get to do that? Maybe you guys are close to, some of you are closer to your grandchildren so that you can physically go and have beach days and say, I'll take your child to the beach. Oh, look at that. Look at it. It's just coming to life. What time is it? Okay, we are a few minutes away. So when I get this done, I think that will be a natural place to stop. Though I think I might just have to put in these colorful eyes and just wing it. Let's get the eyes in place. I'll make them better when I come back to it. Fox eyes are really interesting. Now that's way too dark, isn't it? Oh well, there you go. I love the shape of their eyes. They got these interesting slitty eyes. Just trying to take some of that away because it's a little intense. And I may choose to make them intense like that later, but who knows? We got some darkness happening on this side. And just underneath the eyeball here. Clean my brush, dry it off, and just touch it in between, soften between. And soften between. Okay, now we got some color on them. I don't think they're very accurate yet, but they'll get there. They will get there. I'm hoping that my live stream is working. Okay, let's continue with the branches and then we'll wind it up here. It's even warm downstairs, which is not very usual in our house. So that's lovely. I am enjoying the summer heat. Here, we are here. So let's get some of this. Grade out a little bit more. I'm going to just come in and look at the shapes. I know I have them drawn here, but I also like to stop and make sure that what I drew looks fairly accurate. I'll just do that one that way. Okay. And a little lighter. For down here. Okay. Takes concentration. Stop and look, see what's happening. See that there's a branch that comes down and it's actually a little darker, so we're going to bring in a little bit darker of a value. Get that information in place, clean my brush off. Okay. Let's come in here and get some of this in behind. What am I looking at here? Back and forth here so that I get the shape right and I get the placement right and I know what I'm doing. Step back and it goes right through. Is there a, yeah, I don't know. Seems to go through. Is it in front or behind? I think it's in behind. And it goes over, does it go completely over the rock? Yeah, it does. It comes over here. Okay, so it's, yeah, no, And where does this one go to? Well, it can't be going into the rock. That's not going to work. That's why you have a second pass, because when you put something that should be behind the rock over the, let's just get that in the right place. Okay, let's get this branch here. This is a bigger branch and it's a fair amount grayer. I find that wood in the winter tends to be more gray, like these branches. They don't tend to be very colorful until the spring comes and they lighten up. And they, you know, become alive again, and then they've got different colors in them. Bring that down. Just using the edge of my brush so that I'm not trying to make thick lines, I'm just trying to build it up slowly. And I will make these raw umber lines disappear on the next round, and I will have to sit myself down and into a chair to get this level of detail correct. Clean my brush off, dry it off, and push back that paint. Okay, it's coming here. And then we have a bit of one here, and we have, what do we have there? What am I seeing? It's a rounded one. That's still this one going on. Okay. And it's rounding and coming, and then there's this offshoot of it up here. And this one's in behind. Slowly building it up. And then this one comes through, it comes through here and down. Oops. Well, get that paint off where I don't want it. I've had that happen a few times in my life, that I've had to come back and correct things because I got paint where it shouldn't be and didn't notice. I'm going to say this one comes up here. We'll just do that. And this one comes around here. And there's one more here. I think that's a good place to stop tonight. Oh, just 1 second. Let me spritz everything. Drop in my brushes. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm not sure if any of you were on there. I'm hoping. Sometimes I just know that I'm here by myself painting and having a good time. Remember, the auction ends. The auction for this ends on Sunday. It's a very sweet 6x6 painting. And yeah, it was lots of fun to do. It was lots of fun to do. So it's fun to go from 6 by 6 inches. Look at the size difference. Anyway, thank you for joining me, and we will see you next week, which will be the last week till the end of summer, because of, you know, we're actually able to do things and have people up to visit, and I'll see if we have a cloudy day or two. I'll come in and work on this, and if not, we'll just take off from here and we'll go from there. See you next week.